what the hell I cut that on. I did send an invite to Heather James. She had a 3:30. She may jump on depending on her timing of her 3:30. That's fine. Yeah, there were. I don't know if everybody got that letter or not, but that's fine with me. Just recommendation after reviewing the bids, HWC.
Okay, I'll call the meeting, the February meeting of the Batesville Redevelopment Commission to order, and call the roll. Derek Cox. Here. Kevin Campbell. Here. Bill Narwhal here. Beth Anneking. Here. Mayor Eargang. Here. Brad Marcy. Here. Sarah Lamping.
Here.
Jeremy Raber is absent due to working out of town. Blaine Timonera.
Here.
And Carrie Riley.
Here.
I show no other guest in attendance. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the January 28th that were provided for you before the meeting. When someone is comfortable making a motion to accept, I'll take that motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Award of Industrial Park Retention Pond bid. Do I have a recommendation?
Yes. Obviously, we opened bids last month, and those have been reviewed by our consultant, our city engineer, and our city attorney, and based on their recommendations, I would make a motion that we approve the bid from Mike Holman of $459,336.50.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve Mike Holman Construction to do the work. Any other discussion or input? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mike. Item number 3, resolution of conveyance of property.
During the previous city council meeting, we had signed a resolution for the city of Batesville conveying the property along Lammers Pike to the Redevelopment Commission. After that, a public hearing took place to take public comment for or against the conveyance of that property. Since that time, we have not had any feedback, and so tonight I would respectfully request that the Redevelopment Commission sign the resolution transferring the real property from the city of Batesville to the Redevelopment Commission.
Brad,
Well, we need a motion to approve. So we're waiting on.
Yes, I'll take a motion to approve the resolution of conveyance of property.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? More information? Hearing none, all of those in favor of basically accepting that property signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have property. Rest area update.
real quick, briefly on that. I did provide to everybody a notice of intent for publication as well as an offer sheet. In order for us to dispose of that property, there's got to be a notice issued, published 2 weeks consecutively. The last notice has got to be before the opening of those bids, or offers to sell. So if RDC, if you all want to go ahead and list that property for sale and start taking bids on that, that notice has been provided to Sarah to go through it. And so I didn't know if you guys wanted to address that.
I'm glad you brought that up. We have talked, Blaine, and we would like to approve that document with a change.
Okay.
We would like the bid opening to be on Monday, March 30th at 1 p.m. That way, the city officials will have a chance to look that over and hopefully be able to come in, if there are any bids, be able to make a recommendation that we could approve at the April meeting.
Okay. I can make that change, and then we'll get that issued for publication.
And I know that that everybody got to see that document in an email. So do we need to approve that document, or
We
just?
just need to approve that document with the amended dates.
That would be preferable. And then the offer sheet, Sarah's prepared. I don't necessarily know that we need to approve the offer sheet, but just go ahead and authorize Sarah to issue notice of intent.
Okay,
It is an action for RDC to do.
I'll make a recommendation to approve the offer sheet and the acceptance of offers with the amended date of opening those bids those offers on the 30th.
Okay. Thank you.
A second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
What in regards to clawback do we have in there? That's when I was looking through the document. Do we have anything in there that in regards to they get the property and they sit on it for 5 years or anything like that? That's the only thing that I just was thinking about.
Yeah, so the general structure, and it's somewhat detailed in the offer sheet, but I can provide specific. The intent is that once they provide a proposal for the development, and we award them or acknowledge them as a successful bidder, then we go through a process of we can enter into a development-esque agreement, where we drill down a purchase agreement, more or less,
Yeah.
right? And we build those terms or that development agreement as a additional condition of that.
So it's kind of secondary, right? Offer and then renegotiate, okay.
Right. This is more or less a opportunity for them to provide proposals for how they're going to develop the property. And so, again, the whole purpose of this is RDC's got the ability and flexibility to award based upon a preferred development plan, purpose, land use, how that fits with the goals of RDC. City doesn't enjoy that ability. And so this process, the proposals is more or less to see, number one, what a purchase price, but also what's the plan for what's going to go on the property.
So would we negotiate that before accepting it? Because that's where I think I get kind of lost in the crosshairs, like, because if they give you an offer and we're like, we accept this, are we going back and renegotiating, or is it like, we're going to counter that offer? Is that what?
Yeah, so what the procedure is that when it comes in, you all can award, you can accept the proposals as drafted, or you can deny the proposals as drafted. Then for a period of 30 days after, you can effectuate a sale, but during that time, you can say, well, we don't like the proposals as given, but so we're going to reject them as issued. But after denying all of them, you can go back and negotiate privately. Negotiation,
Okay.
right, to address some of those things. So more or less, this is a previewing.
Which is
plan.
which is really the advantage to doing it through redevelopment.
Right. Now, if somebody comes in and gives you everything you want, right, you certainly
Yeah.
are at liberty to make that decision then. But as you go, again, and the other part is they're giving you a proposal. If there's somebody you like and the general terms are there, there's still opportunity to go ahead and fine tune that purchase agreement.
Okay, that's what we're going to check on process. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good question. Anything else? All in favor of the amended resolution and offer, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Rest area update?
At this point in time, we are still in a position where the invoices were received and payment was submitted. I did reach out for an update because what they're doing on their end is doing the title transfer. And that has not yet been confirmed, but it is in their wheelhouse to take care of. And once that is completed, I will notify the redevelopment commission.
And it's not really causing us any issues, is it? That,
And the price that we were invoiced was for $90,050. And that included the $25 filing fee because we essentially purchased two separate parcels. So we had to have a filing fee on each parcel.
okay. Thank you. Industrial Park Bond update.
Yeah, so the industrial park bond, pretty lengthy punch list of items. So we are at now the doorstep. There's been a number of documents. We are at the doorstep here of forming the escrow account to defease these bonds. First and foremost, we'll need it. There's been a escrow agreement that has been provided. That is an agreement between the Redevelopment Commission for the city of Batesville and Bank of New York to basically stipulate to this arrangement for the escrow and how the escrow is going to satisfy the obligations of the bond. We'll need a resolution approving that escrow agreement, and a resolution's been provided for you all approving that escrow agreement. That has been ran through our bond counsel, Heather James, who's I've got a Zoom call here. She's at a 3:30 meeting, but she may jump on here after that conclusion. She's gone through that. She drafted the escrow agreement, and so we'll need a resolution approving that. As we start down the escrow agreement process, per Baker Tilly, who's our municipal advisors, there's a requirement that the amount that they have provided to us, that $1.98 million, that needs to be verified by an independent accountant. And they have proposed CAUSE PF, and that agreement has been provided. As I understand, they will go through, check Baker Tilly's math. There is a fee for that. The cost of that is $2,500. But that will validate the $1.98 million number that's been provided by Baker Tilly. Once that number is validated, Baker Tilly has also provided a bond defeasance advisory agreement. Earlier this afternoon, I did send out our July 2025 agreement. Reading those two agreements next to each other, the natural question I think from you all will be, well, we already paid them once. What's this for? I understand that now that the initial agreement that we had entered to was doing all the work to get us to the plan up until the point where we start executing the plan. This is the execution side of that. Those municipal services is the agreement in layman's terms, as I understand it. In addition to that, Baker Tilly will take that $1.98 million and they will shop that escrow account for investment purposes to maximize the return on that. Of course, that requires another fee in another division, investment services from Baker Tilly. There's a $5,000 fee associated with that. And so the request from at this point in time is approval of the escrow agreement to go ahead and fund this. Now, admittedly, within the escrow agreement, there are blanks. Those will be retroactively filled in once CAUSE verifies the amount. That will also be added into the resolution approving once CAUSE verifies that amount, but we understand $1.98 million, give or take, on the back end. And then approval of retaining CAUSE as the verification agent, and then approval for Baker Tilly services and managing the bond defeasance end of things, and then in shopping the investments of that escrow account.
Shop those investments every year.
I'll have to look at the agreement, but as I understand it, it's a one-time fee, but I will look through that. The one question I also had on that is who's in charge of making those decisions, right? Because as you look through that escrow agreement, who is in charge of making the decisions to validate or verify or agree to the investments that are within there? Do they call the escrow trustee to say, hey, do you agree to this investment or changing this investment if that's necessary, or do they contact RDC as the point of contact for that? So I myself have a few questions on that, but
And then did we find out if we have to pay the 300,000 that's due this year? Or the money that's due in this spring's payment? Or is that tied up in that 1.9 million?
when is that payment due? That's a June payment, is it not? I believe that's accounted for within the escrow funds. My recollection from last month or the month that we had Heather on was that would be accounted for as part of this escrow funding. Correct. That's my recollection. Yeah. But if we can make sure that
My recollection is so I heard 2,500 in fees, and then I heard 5,000 in fees. That it, or was there another one
So
too?
I'm thinking, man, 25 grand for,
20, it's a services up to 25,000 for Baker Tilly to handle the bond.
100 for the,
Correct.
and there was another
$5,000 for the investment advice.
$5,000 for the investment.
32.5.
32.5.
Right. Now I think that 25 will come. That's not due immediately. I think that's due. The $25,000 is due as services are rendered. So that's not a payment due up front. It's similar to what our.
Is that on, sorry, go ahead.
Did that include, I saw there was a clause in there where they get billables too for travel and, you know, what reasonable reimbursement, is that included in the ceiling?
I will check on expenses.
And is that in addition to the roughly 25,000 that looks like there's bills in here?
So the 25,000 in bills, 22,000 of it has already been paid. There's a $2,300 bill that's catch up remainder that's going to be asked for approval today. Of the
Different side,
Okay.
separate 25.
Yeah, that's another 25. Okay, I think you, sir, may have some more.
Yeah.
Right.
So, in the end, they're trying to get as damn close to the 175,000 it would have cost us to get a bond in the first place for them messing this whole thing up.
That's one way to look at it. Correct.
I assume the trust pays that fee, but if you can find out what that fee is.
Yeah. So, right. And so I have the same question because there was another exhibit in there. As I understood the agreement, the amount that Causey is supposed to be injected into that is also supposed to pay the fees for the escrow trustee. If there's a deficiency amount to pay the escrow trustee's fees, then we will be responsible on the back end for that naturally. But again, as I read the agreement again this afternoon for that same question because of the understanding what the exhibits are, as I understood that the amount that will be deposited within that escrow account, the trustee is reimbursed for that number.
Out of that.
That's what I understand that to be. Now, again, if the income's insufficient, then we will be responsible for that.
When this account is completely paid off and the escrow account has been exhausted and there's a balance left in the escrow account, who receives that balance?
That will come back to the city of Batesville if there is a surplus funds at the end. If the escrow outperforms the obligations, that will that's not within the agreement. I will ensure that language. I will ask about that language.
Is it not? Is that,
Does not, it didn't state.
it's not in the agreement, but is it illegal? I mean,
Yeah, it's city of Batesville property, right? I mean, the escrow,
Was, but
the,
We assumed this was gonna work out the right way the first time, so let's put it in there.
yeah, the escrow account is always, it's going to be underneath of the name of the city of Batesville. And the escrow trustee and the bond is only entitled up to the amount that they're owed and due. Any amount other than that is city of Batesville property.
this agreement takes the president or his designee signature.
Correct.
I'll make a motion that pending answers for the questions that have arisen, that have been recorded by Blaine, that permission is given for the president or the vice president to sign these documents on behalf of the redevelopment. That's a motion, yeah. Did I cover everything in there?
I believe so.
so it's going to be signed subject to the favorable answers.
Favorable, that's the
Yeah.
word that we're missing. Yeah, because that didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And points of clarification. Spring of 2026 payment, clarification on whether we're obligated for that or if that's included within reimbursable expenses, whether that is,
Travel
that's the Baker Tilly, scope of services, reimbursement of the surplus in the escrow agreement, the Exhibit A or the Exhibit C fees in the escrow agreement.
I might add to that, if they would present us with a timeline on when these payments are expected, so.
And I think Kevin, or did you, maybe you answered this, but I thought Kevin had a question too about that $5,000 investment fee. Did you say that is a
Is that
one-time?
ongoing? Yeah, is that an annual thing, or is that a,
Is it, yeah, is it a
because nobody's
one-time?
managing an investment account and not getting paid all the time.
Sure. Yeah, and I don't know if they put these in terms identical, and just lock them in on investments. I don't know how that all would work, but I will ask.
Beth pointed out that we do have a schedule for
I
the
guess they'd
bond
be tied to
payment,
a lot of government
but
securities.
we don't.
Okay. Yeah, the bond payment is in the Schedule A for that schedule, but again, to your point,
Hopefully they don't bill up front and then earn the money later.
I will.
Yep.
Since it says if we do not, if there's insufficient funds,
Yeah.
then we are responsible for the payment to the.
Yep, I will let, yeah, I'll send you that section.
You have something, Kevin?
I was thinking with that investment, if we send them that full amount and we make the June payment, would that buy us, and what buys us another year of whatever the investment is that might make it more advantageous for us to do it that way?
I think last month when we were, it included. That up front will have.
Yes, so, and we're really gonna get into this later, but our January 31st balance was 2.23 million.
Or did you say 2.23? It's probably in here in the package. but-
Yeah, in the budget sheet here. Adjustment to that is, because this was paid out in February, would be the 9,000. So, with that, bond payment of say 2 million, if it's needed, that'll leave us being negative 110,000 until we get our first site plan out. Discuss with you the downtown development match grant. We'll receive that until we have to pay it out, so that will be a concern cash flow, but, and that's assuming not paying the
To your point, Kevin, calculation we currently have. I think from my memory, we pay the June installment and then, but
Yeah, go spend 10 more hours or 2 weeks. Which should take 5 minutes.
because whatever we might save in interest in the long haul, we pay now. That's,
I'll agree to that.
okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I think we.
You made a motion, right? You made the motion. I don't think we ever had a second.
I didn't second it, I just.
I will second Bill's motion.
No other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for their work on that. Hopefully, we don't have months. Freedom isn't free. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, but I still think that paying the cash and getting rid of this thing it's a lot more beneficial to us than trying to finance it.
Okay, unfinished business. Hearing none. Financial reports and claims. Greg?
Yeah, so we ended the month of January, balance of $2,230,763. We made our $142,000 Baxter Building support payment, industrial park land bond payment of $14,000, ARA services of $3,300, and then it's miscellaneous expenses of $1,000 for just some subscriptions and supplies. And then, as I was saying earlier, in the month of February, we had the $90,000 $50 payment too. That you'll see the invoice for that in your packet as well. That went out to get that ball rolling. So, questions, comments, concerns?
Brad, have you gotten anything from either one of the counties on,
Not yet. I'll check back through to see if maybe Paul got something, and I just haven't found that folder yet in the desk, but I haven't.
I think maybe he did get those.
Okay.
For some reason, I'm thinking he may have gotten one or the other.
Okay. Yeah, because he put an estimate together for like the revenue.
any claims?
Nope. Just that 90,000.
And
Yeah, we got the Baker
Tilly,
Tilly bills. We got it.
Okay.
2,493.75 cents.
What was that price? 24.
2,000.
I'm seeing.
Oh, okay, I just didn't go through.
Or 80,000. For the rest area,
Yeah, this is for the rest area.
I'm seeing 90,000.
Yeah. Yeah, there's two for $45,025.
Two claims, one from Indiana Department of Transportation for $950 and one from Baker Tilly for $22,506.45. Motion to approve.
Bill, I think the invoice from Baker Tilly for claim is 2,000.
23, yeah.
It's this one, this one.
I think the other one was paid last summer.
Correct.
$2,493.75, is that?
Yes.
Okay, I have to make a copy of this. All right. We got two claims. Baker Tilly and Indiana Department.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Before you move on, the budget, the new shell building bond payment, that 300,000, we won't have to pay that now, right? Because,
That's the assumption, yeah.
so that'll kind of get added back in.
That'll be added.
Well, if Blaine doesn't spend it with Baker Tilly before then.
Yeah, before it gets counted up.
Yeah,
You're welcome, everybody.
and my recollection from that was, I think it might have been Paul's last meeting. We had them on call. They advised that under this arrangement, we wouldn't have that payment, but I'll go back and see if I can track that down in my notes or in the minutes. Because anyhow.
Well, no, I think we had scheduled in case we funded some portion of it, we
Right.
put that in here. Okay.
Anyhow. Okay.
Other new business?
I don't have anything.
Somewhat relevant for your budget. I think the anticipation is that there will be announcements on the MSRP Okra grant that Main Street had applied for next week. They delayed announcements for that, but apparently they have taken up the big check game, Okra has, and so there may be a big check picture, fingers crossed, pending a good phone call to the mayor next week or any kind of case. So, anyhow, maybe a $500,000 check coming in. So,
That sounds good.
anyhow, nothing from.
Do you want to use a big pen when you get it? I got
I-
one.
I used it the other night.
Have we, I know there's some outliers, maybe that's not the right word, but possibilities for the rest area, but have we kind of done an outlay of what that property with where the industrial park sits to maybe extend those lots that are adjacent to it? So, I mean, I guess I haven't laid a plot map over top of it to figure that out yet. Have we done that yet, or have we?
A question, this kind of ties into the whole thing. If we get this bond behind us and we get that gross up, then what do we look at as far as the development strategy for that area? With the road going in, detention pond, and I think it's time to recalibrate all of that. I know the marketing individual has reached out to Sarah and said, hey, are you ready to market this? And we have a question out there. Maybe you can add that to your list of questions. When can we feel comfortable moving ahead with the process of marketing that?
Those
property?
liens getting released?
Yeah,
No,
that was my question
Can't sell it
today.
until June, but we do all of this in June. Is it gonna be another 30 days before we can sign on the line? And can we go ahead in good faith and start marketing that now and give them the green light? And, you know, I'm not sure, and I rely on Sarah there, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do we go ahead and say, these are the lots and the plots, and this is the new layout? Or do we have an investor that wants to come in and say, I'd like this partial, and customized for me, and that's when we have it redone. And I rely on Derek and others to say, you know, what comes first on that? Both of them come first, because we've run into this before where that thing was all plotted out and somebody said, well, I want this, but I want a different configuration, and then you gotta go back and have that all appraised, and, you know, it gets really cumbersome and time consuming. So to your question, I don't know what that is, but until we know a timeline on when we can actually sell that, make it available, get back with other interested parties that we've had in the past, I think it's a moot point, but I think it's definitely something that we want to work on in the future. How do we approach that?
Absolutely.
Can
We
you,
may even bring this marketing guy in and say, hey, how would you go about this?
But we need that date as to when
Yeah, so as-
property will be owned by the redevelopment commission.
I will confirm the title aspects of this, but my understanding is once the escrow account is funded and money has been allocated, the bonds will be defeased and title will be clear, and then we will need the RDA to sign over all of the lots to the RDC, because I believe they're all owned by the RDA currently. But my understanding is once this escrow account is funded and the documents are signed, title will then be clear on these things.
Except for the rest area. That's clearly going to be the RDCs.
Correct. Yeah. So that is exempt. Yeah. That the RDC will own that without a doubt. You can market that immediately upon receiving title for that. There's no hold on that. It's only the industrial park lots that go, IKEA and past that.
Do you have anything else on that, Kevin, or is that?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Anything else, Kevin? Gary? Brad? Sarah?
You may have already seen the notice, but I did want to share with the group that I have submitted my resignation to the mayor, and I intend to retire at the end of March. So my last day will be April 3rd. Reason being, I've got a lot of family that I want to spend time with.
grandbabies?
She's tired of us.
So thank you.
Congratulations, Sarah. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you for allowing me to serve in this capacity. So,
Thank you, Sarah, and we're going to take full advantage of your last.
I can tell.
Make sure she,
I saw it coming.
make sure she initialed and all that stuff too. We can get her for another month if we hang on. You never know.
She had a soft tech schedule and another appointment with us for the folks down at the Sherman about their progress and plans.
Not letting up on the gas. So,
Good for you.
That's awesome.
Section would.
so.
Any other projects that?
One thing I would like to share with you, and I will be sending this out to you in an electronic format, but this bodes well with what you just talked about as far as marketing the industrial park lots. But the IEDC sends out a site selection year-end report, and what it will do is tell you a history of what the market has done as far as are people looking for larger buildings? Are people looking for smaller buildings? Are people looking for acreage? How much acreage are they looking for? So this is a snapshot of what 2025 looked like. So I did want to mention it rather than just email it blankly. So I think this would be something to consider that we look at as we continue our discussion on, putting our plan together on how we want to move forward with marketing the industrial park.
That's statewide data, right?
Yes. What this is it is actually all of the leads that the state of Indiana received throughout the year, whether we qualified for them or not. So.
Anything else?
That's it.
Have we heard anything else about the state development or the residential development?
We were in a soft,
TIF conversation.
oh, regarding the TIF, the residential TIF request, no, we have not heard anything back from them at this point in time.
Were they advised of the decision?
Yes. I had shared that with Heather at Ice Miller after our last meeting.
Terry? A couple of things I had, one to tie on to that. Has been talked about a housing study. Has the economic development
We are still evaluating it. I don't know if we're fully convinced we're going to do a housing study full, but at a minimum, I think the plan is to at least have a gathering of the minds to,
I think we.
and some
we
of the
kinda-
power
we
players
thought-
in town to
we kinda talked
get some
about more
information.
Getting some local
right.
developers and builders,
Real estate agents
to
together,
the table to
have a conversation.
powwow with them, get their thoughts before we would enter into.
Yeah, it might be
full-fledged
easier to buy all them lunch one day and cheaper than to spend 75 grand on a
housing.
Guys like
housing study that's going to tell us the same thing.
Because we do have,
didn't
as the
write-
mayor alluded to, we do have some development that is occurring. So yes, a housing study is always valuable, but we do have some development that is going on from mixed use, single family, that is in the process of going through planning and zoning and being solidified.
Soft tech week meeting.
Yeah. Specific to Lake Shore.
That which is kind of on those lines. I've been watching the bill that's working its way through the state. They're wanting certain code requirements, setbacks, all of that opened up. And right now, the bill is being pushed back on local control. We know that's the state. And the pushback, and the answer to that was, well, municipalities can opt out of this. This is also teeth for them to put in and say, this is what the state to help some communities get over the hump, or the group that just doesn't want to grow or doesn't want to be flexible. I think at the very least, what's going to come out of this is all of their rules, regulations, fees, steps it takes, timelines of things. So I think it's something that ought to be on our radar. The state is really going to be pushing communities to encourage development.
There were quite a few amendments to that bill yesterday. One of the bigger things is the state is willing to kind of back off them taking control in still allowing local municipalities to provide control, but in order to do that, they are going to require us to go through those processes that you were talking about looking at our fees and our setbacks and so forth. And I think they pulled out they were going to really limit our ability to charge impact fees really the only impact fees that there's hookup fees from water and gas, but we do charge impact fees for our wastewater. I can send you, I got a summary of those changes earlier today, changes that were amended yesterday, so I can send those out to everybody. Take a look at them.
Yeah.
That'd be great. And I think some of that conversation is gonna be about how to speed that up, make that quicker. What's the hurdles of getting building permits, making that process easier.
Help me out here, what's the rules for
Covenants,
covenants?
Yeah.
Will this affect covenants?
those are drawn up by the developer when they come, so it
Yeah, I
potentially could, right? But like, they get to determine it for their own. They're gonna follow whatever regulations they have, but I don't know that that actually changes an individual covenant that would go in.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't
still
think it does
independent.
individual, like
Okay.
covenants. It does code in planning and in zone.
So the covenants can go above and beyond what code says?
Yeah.
Absolutely. As I understand, the intent of the bill is that it's more for industrial targets, right? Data centers, taking the power away
That-
from planning commissions, data centers.
That's part of it, but HB 1001 is really directed toward housing.
Sure.
And it's written by a builder.
Right.
Well, it's a red tape eliminator. That's what it looks like to kind of
Well,
help and aid for other
I think
people, not
that's the
just.
goal, but
Yeah.
I think some of them are wanting to build houses on smaller lots that they don't have to have the setback, so you can reach through the bathroom window and
No, touch the
punch your
biases.
neighbors on the back.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly have that. And again, AIM is really has really pushed back on this. And I was probably the one person in the room that said, this isn't all bad. But in some of the smaller lots and a lot of they're talking about is eliminating parking mandates, which again, parking drives up the cost of a development immensely. So everything in that bill was not bad.
Sure.
But I guess to my point is I still think you let the local community
Right.
dictate that, because from the other side is you've got local people who built their homes and so forth, and they may not like this.
Right.
But I realize, when we were having that meeting today, there's gonna be things that happen. People have been accustomed to having this 36-acre field that's just an open field, and now that open field may be 88 houses. And so, no matter what,
If they don't want it to be 88 houses, they can go buy it.
One point of, I'm going to change hats here to the school board side of stuff, and I brought this up with our superintendent, but I think that from a growth perspective of housing increases, I do think that there needs to be some pretty heavy communication if that's on the horizon with the school, just from a facility standpoint, because building accommodating facilities is really expensive, and I know at one point in time last year, the school had looked at adding a couple of classrooms to the primary school and things of that nature. Now, enrollment, generally speaking, is down just because birth rates are down. I think there's going to be a little bump here this year because COVID babies are going to start showing up. But after that,
Nobody had anything else?
another fall off. Guilty as charged, right? So be it. Now, the first one was,
We talked about this the other day when Jeremy was here. You didn't seem to think it was that big of a deal.
again, and it may not be, but you had 80 houses. If there's
Yeah.
2 kids in half of the houses, you're talking 80 kids spread across 8 grades. Certainly.
1.5 kids per house like that the very next school year. So
Right.
put those in, it's usually 4 or 5 years before you receive any kind of impact on it, and it doesn't hit every building at one time.
Right.
I think what Jeremy shared with us is when we do the housing study, to not just focus on the Batesville School Corporation area, but to think a little bit bigger because of the
Ye-
students that can select
he was saying don't just do the city.
Do the
do
The
school
district.
I just,
said that backwards, yeah. Do the school district, not just the city limits.
I just raised that just as,
Yeah.
to encourage that consideration and
Yeah, I
collaboration.
mean, I think we brought that up the other day with like sewage capacity and water
Right,
capacity and
well,
all that
and
stuff.
actually,
too.
just a side comment, we had a call yesterday with Marion.
Yes.
And
Monday.
with Marion University on Monday, and when we were looking at some of those numbers, the projections are for lower enrollment here, at least what they shared.
And that's accurate, right? Birth rates generally, but
And
that,
again, we talked to a developer today, and he was talking about the types of things that he was doing, and I know on the one, typically have, it's a multifamily development, but they haven't brought in, somebody said something about kids.
but you contemplate from a regional aspect, right?
But-
To Sarah's point, right? I mean, if realistically, if Franklin County closes Laurel Elementary Schools, you're going to have a whole part of their school district that's going to elementary school level kids that are going to end up at Batesville just because it's closer to come here than it is to go to Laurel Elementary or wherever. They may be here already. Who knows, right? But
Rush County's having, they're talking about.
right. So just again, I just say that for communication standpoint because we do this new superintendent is relocating here. There's a lot of learning curve. Just making sure that those intents and potential developments are relayed.
People want to move, that we want to be here, houses because people want to move here.
They want to capture the community.
Well, and then you add another amenity if the Marion deal comes to pass, you're right, then what's retaining look like? I think that's the whole intent is to retain potential graduates from that program or the 4-year program that ends up here, whatever the case may be. So I don't know if those numbers were based upon current population or projections on accounting for growth and things of that nature. Again, it was just an hour-long slide presentation and the data wasn't exactly shared as to how the sausage was made. But anyhow, again, just point being, just emphasize that
Make sure
that
we have that.
communication aspect. So, right. But I'm more speaking if there's 80 house development that's going to end up going in and apartment complex or something like that, right? So, anyhow.
It's essential that we work collaboratively and Jeremy's on this board.
Right.
So as we do move forward, that we think that we need to keep in mind that the decisions that we make can ripple effect that it has across other institutions and institutions, as we should.
Bring up a good point, that all of this is a pretty complex thing, but.
Right.
You know, one of the things that I read said just simple things like you put in a developer comes in and he's required to have sidewalks, curbs, everything, you know, completed before they'll allow him to sell any lots. And a lot of times they even let them build cash flowing and with the idea that they have to have that done within so many years, that they got to have that done before anyone can move in. So just little things like that, and I don't know where our city stands on that.
Sure.
I think we've been negligent over the years in not demanding that developers do that, because those are the things that make your community desirable. And thus, we have so many subdivisions that,
Without sidewalks.
where you live,
Mhm.
where I live.
We don't have sidewalks.
We don't have sidewalks.
And they're not suggesting
Yeah.
you don't require
Right.
them, they're just saying the
Right.
timing of that needs to be more developer friendly.
Well, yeah, for instance, what I'm seeing in like out there at Crestview or whatever, and in some of the other neighborhoods, they're building a house, and as part of the, when they finish the house, sidewalk down in front of the house. They keep,
Continue to add on.
continue to go as they go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fair point.
Is that what they do? They pass it on to the buyer. The cost of that.
Okay. Everybody,
Did we need a motion?
I'm sorry?
We didn't do a motion to adjourn.
No, well, Just gonna call.
okay.
We'll make one.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll reconvene April 1st.
April Fool's Day.